The rain had turned the road into a mirror of broken lights, stretching endlessly into the darkness, when one small decision changed everything. That night, as thunder cracked the sky and water poured down like grief with no end, a tired single father drove home believing life had already taken everything it could from him. He didn't know that stopping his car for one soaked, trembling stranger would quietly rewrite his fate by morning. If you believe that kindness still matters in a world that feels cold and unfair, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Gentle Hearts. Comment below if you believe in second chances and the power of doing good even when no one is watching. The man driving through that storm was Daniel Harper, a single father in his mid-30s whose life had slowly unraveled after losing his wife to illness 3 years earlier. Since that day, every sunrise felt heavier than the last. He worked a low-paying warehouse job that barely covered rent, groceries, and childcare. His mornings began before dawn, his nights ended in exhaustion, and in between, he carried the constant fear of losing the only stability he had left. His daughter, Lily, was 7 years old, gentle and observant, with eyes that noticed everything her father tried to hide. She saw the unpaid bills, the silent prayers, and the way her father's shoulders sagged when he thought no one was looking. That evening, Daniel had stayed late at work again, stacking crates under flickering lights while his supervisor watched the clock with thinly veiled irritation. Every extra minute meant another warning. Every warning meant being closer to losing his job. When Daniel finally left, the storm had already swallowed the city. Rain battered his windshield so hard it felt like the world itself was angry. Lily slept in the back seat, curled against her backpack, trusting her father to bring them home safely, just as she trusted him with everything else. The road Daniel took home was old and poorly lit, cutting through an industrial stretch where broken streetlights flickered like tired stars. It was there, through sheets of rain and shadows, that he noticed a shape on the roadside. At first, he thought it was debris. Then headlights revealed a man, elderly and hunched, standing beside a stalled car with its hood open, soaked to the bone. The man didn't wave or shout. He simply stood there, defeated, as if expecting nothing. Daniel's first instinct was to keep driving. He was late, he was tired, he had a child in the car. Helping a stranger meant risk, delay, and consequences he could not afford. His hands tightened on the steering wheel as he passed the broken car, his heart pounding with guilt. But in the rearview mirror, he saw the old man still standing there, rain dripping from his coat, shoulders slumped in quiet resignation. Something inside Daniel cracked. He knew that look too well. It was the look of someone the world had forgotten. He slowed the car, pulled over, and reversed through the rain. The old man looked surprised when Daniel stopped, as if kindness had caught him off guard. Daniel offered him a ride without hesitation, helping him into the car and wrapping him in the only dry towel he had. The smell of rain, age, and exhaustion filled the vehicle. The man's hands trembled, whether from cold or life itself, Daniel could not tell. Lily stirred in the back seat, watching silently, learning something important without a single word being spoken. As they drove, the storm raged on, but inside the car, there was a fragile warmth. The old man explained that his car had broken down hours ago. His phone had died. No one had stopped. Daniel listened, nodding, understanding more than he realized. He dropped the man at a small roadside diner that stayed open late for truckers and night workers, making sure he was safe before driving away. There was no exchange of names, no promises, no expectation of reward. Just a simple act of humanity swallowed by the storm. That night, Daniel slept poorly. Worry gnawed at him. He knew helping the man had cost him time. He would be late again in the morning. Another mark against him. Another reason for his boss to remind him that single fathers were unreliable. When morning came, Daniel moved quickly, dressing Lily, dropping her at school, and rushing to work with a knot in his chest. He arrived late by 11 minutes. Inside the warehouse, the air was heavy with tension. Daniel's supervisor had already been watching the entrance. This man had always been sharp-tongued, obsessed with rules but blind to compassion. Daniel had been warned more times than he could count. Today felt different, final. As Daniel walked in, rain still clinging to his coat, he felt the quiet judgment of coworkers who had learned to keep their heads down to survive. The supervisor called him into the office. Papers lay on the desk, neatly stacked, waiting like a verdict. Daniel stood there, thinking of Lily, of rent, of how close he was to losing everything. The words came fast and cold, rehearsed and merciless. Tardiness. Responsibility. No excuses. Daniel felt something collapse inside him. He didn't beg. He didn't argue. He had learned that dignity was sometimes the last thing a person owned. Then something unexpected happened. The office door opened. An older man walked in, dry, well-dressed, calm, and unmistakably confident. The room shifted. The supervisor's tone changed instantly, posture straightening, voice suddenly respectful. Daniel recognized the face immediately. It was the man from the storm. Only now, there was no trace of weakness. The elderly man surveyed the room quietly, eyes sharp, presence commanding. He asked to hear what was happening. The supervisor began explaining, eager to justify his actions, listing Daniel's flaws as if they were numbers on a report. As he spoke, the old man's expression hardened. When the explanation ended, silence filled the room. The truth came out like a quiet earthquake. The old man was the company's majority owner, recently returned to personally assess operations and management culture. The stormy night had been no accident. It had been a test of character life itself had written. He spoke not of rules, but of values. Not of minutes late, but of humanity. He explained how he had been stranded, invisible, ignored by dozens of cars, until one exhausted single father chose compassion over convenience. What followed was swift and final. The supervisor's authority dissolved in moments. His lack of empathy, his treatment of workers, his obsession with control over care were laid bare. By the end of the meeting, it was clear who no longer belonged there. Daniel stood frozen as the weight of the moment sank in. The man he had helped without hesitation had just saved his livelihood. More than that, he had changed it. Daniel was offered a better position, flexible hours, and the kind of stability he had been praying for in silence. But the greatest reward wasn't the promotion. It was the confirmation that his values, his quiet integrity, still mattered. In the weeks that followed, Daniel's life slowly transformed. He spent more evenings with Lily, helped her with homework without checking the clock, cooked dinners without exhaustion clouding every thought. The warehouse itself began to change, policies shifting, managers trained to lead with fairness instead of fear. Kindness had created a ripple far larger than one rainy night. Daniel never told Lily exactly how close they had come to losing everything. He didn't need to. She already understood something far more important. She had seen her father stop in a storm when no one else did. She had learned that goodness wasn't loud or rewarded immediately, but it endured. If this story moved you even a little, if it reminded you that compassion still has power, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Gentle Hearts. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Before we end, we have one special request for you. Please comment below and tell us, would you have stopped in the storm? Your words might inspire someone who's struggling right now. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness becomes the turning point of an entire life.